Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of Herodotus, or selections from Herodotus. So I've been reading book 1 and I got up to chapter 83, or section 83. So in the previous section we saw that Croesus had sent off to Sparta for assistance, only to find the Spartans themselves were having fights with the those from Argos over a plot of land, and we had the long saga there ending up with this so-called explanation as to why the Spartans wore their hair long. And so 83 picks up from there. Toiuton der, toisi Sparti etesin, enes dioton, pregmaton, heki hossardinius, kerux diomenus cruso, boethen, polyorchiomeno. So we have a genitive absolute. So literally such affairs. Now we get a participle here. This is from en histemi, to put into place, and so this is these affairs having been put in place for the Spartans. The herald, the one from Sardis, Heike, came asking them, understood, to assist, from boatheo, takes a dative, Croesus, who was being besieged, passive from polyorchio. Hoi de homos, but they, nonetheless, so it's despite their recent troubles with Argos, epate, it would be epate in Attic, I think, when they perceived, from Ponthanamai. Now it takes a genitive, but here it's perceived in the sense of when they heard what the herald had to say. So when they perceived this from the herald, perhaps, hormiato. Now this is one of these alphas, which would be a nu. It's a sonant nu, so this is a third person plural, and the form itself actually is a pluperfect. So they had set forth, literally, boathein, infinitive, to assist. Kaisvi aute, and for them, well, I've got to go to the main subject here, I think. So we get alle angelie, another message. This is the abstract noun here, not the messenger, but another message, came to them just at this stage, having made preparations, and we get a genitive absolute, and the boats being ready, their ships being prepared. This is a participle, you don't get the epsilon in Attic, and you get a contraction. So their boats being ready, another message came that the wall of the Lydians, halokoi, is a perfect optative from haliskami. So the verb hyreo is I take, and instead of putting the verb in the passive, Greek has a separate verb for the passive of hyreo, which is haliskami, and the root of that is hal. So we actually get here a perfect optative, which is not that common. So it's reporting that the wall of the Lydians had been taken, and that Croesus, ekoita, was held, so he was in custody, so Graethes, having been taken alive. Common verb here from sogrio, having been taken alive. And you may recall earlier that Cyrus had given instructions that if they caught Croesus, they would have tried and take him alive and not to kill him. Huto dei, hutoi men somphoran, poie samenoi megalon epipaunto. This is another pluperfect Herodotos is very fond of the pluperfect passive. So thus indeed, they, this is the Spartans, this is this poio in the middle, regarding it to be, regarding the disaster to be megalane, to be a great one, they ceased, they ceased from, they had ceased from their activity. We would just say they ceased from their preparations, from Powwow. In the, this is in the middle, and Powwow is to check, power my middle is to check oneself and hence to cease. So they desisted. So that's chapter 83, and moving on to 84, Sardis de Hyroiades. So he's now going to tell us the story of how Sardis was taken. So Sardis was taken, this is from that haliskamai verb again, used as a passive for Hyroiades in the following way. Epede tessorakai decate. Now there is a hemera here. So when the 14th day had arrived, for Croesus being besieged, Curas te stratia te autu, so Cyrus, something to his own army, so it's diapempsas hippias, he sent riders, horsemen to his, around his own army. So having done that, pro ape, literally to say in advance, and hence to promise. So he promised that, and then we get a future infinitive, he would give gifts to the first man, epibanti, having set foot on the wall. So the first one, having climbed onto the wall. So he promised that he would give gifts to the first man who climbed onto the wall. Meditate tutor, and after this, now we get a genitive absolute. This is a comma here, it looks like a full stop, but it must be a comma here. So his army, having made the attempt, so they tried to do this when they, when he, it could refer back to the army or it could refer to him. It's from procurio, literally to come forward, and hence one of the meanings of this is to have success. So when, perhaps if it's agreeing with stratia, when his force did not have success, or when he did not have success, enthauta for entauta, and there, at that point, another genitive absolute, the others having ceased, so we get a perfect middle participle, this is that power in the middle again, all the others having ceased, ane mardos, a Mardian man. Now the Mardians were a nomadic Persian tribe. Eperatot prosbino. He made an attempt, and we're getting this prosbino, to mount, understand, or perhaps to move forward, perhaps to mount the wall, whose name was Hyroiades. So he made an attempt climbing up kata tuto, at that part, tes acropolios, at that part of the Acropolis, at which no phulikos, no guard, etetacto, this is another pluperfect passive, had been stationed. This is from Tasso. So he made an attempt at that part of the Acropolis at which no guard had been stationed, pluperfect passive. Uga ain denon katatuto me hallo koti. Now koti for potty, we get in Herodotus this kappa for pi very commonly. You get ala koti, you get potty and so on. So For it was not, now funny use of Danon here, it has a huge range of meanings. Here it has something like feared. So for it was not feared at this place, lest potty ever hallow, that's from that haliskamai again, it might be taken. This is an aorist subjunctive. It's irregular endings of this one too, so it's a tricky verb from haliskamai. So for there was no fear that it might ever be taken at this spot. Apotomos tega esti, for it is, apotomos is literally cut off. It's a word meaning sheer. So it was a sheer drop down at this point. There was no easy way of getting up there. So for it was sheer, and, well, the subject is the Acropolis. So the Acropolis is sheer, taute, at this place, and amakos, and, well, invincible. You can't fight it, so it's amakos, invincible. Te udi meles hoproteron. Now we get this funny story now. So at this place, neither did Meles, the previous king of the Sardis, of the Sardians really, of the people of Sardis, at this place, and the te goes with the mune for monet, at this place alone did Meles, the previous king. Now the two negatives don't cancel, so it's just he did not peri eineke. This is from periphero. You get einenkon in classic and Attic Greek. This is the aorist from periphero in Ionic. So he did not carry around the lion, the one which he palake, his concubine, eteke bore, from tikto, aorist from tikto, aorist etekon, hoi, for him. So he did not carry around this lion that his concubine had borne for him. Very strange thing to happen. Now we get a genitive absolute here. The Telmesians, these are known for their gifts of prophecy. They dike santone, from dikasdo, again a range of meanings. It's generally a word used in law courts, but here it just has the sense of had determined, having determined. So the Telmesians having determined that, now we get another genitive absolute, and it's if the lion had been carried around the wall. So if they determined that if this lion had been carried around the wall, Sardis, the people of Sardis, will be, future from Amy, unhalotoi. Now this is this alpha privative plus a linking nu, and the hal here is the same root from haliskamai. So it might be unable to be taken. So it might be secure. Hodemeles katato alatekos peri enekas. This again is this periphero. This is the aorist participle now. This meles, having carried, understand, the lion about the rest of the wall, at the place where now the epimakon. Now let me just see here. So te ain epimakon, and then in brackets tokorion tes acropolios. So if we put in the tokorion, the place of the wall where it was attackable, so where it could be attacked, so he took it around to all the rest of the wall at the place where the part of the Acropolis which was susceptible to attack. Kat a logasi, Now this is from katalogio, katalogio, so it's kata plus alogio, which has the sense of to make little account of, and it simply means to neglect. So he neglected this part as being participle, amacon as being invincible, and also because it was apotamos, because it was so sheer. So he carried this lion around all the rest of the Acropolis, which could be attacked, which was susceptible to attack, but he neglected this bit since it was invincible and sheer. Esti de pros tu tmolu tetramenontes polios. So it is. This is from trepho. This is from trepo, to turn. So this is idiomatic. It was on the side of the city in the direction of Tmolus. Slightly idiomatic here. So it is on the side of the city, so yeah, facing Tmolus, in the direction of Tmolus, I think. Hot own day. So therefore, in fact, Hyroiades, so this Hyroiades the Mardian, having seen te proterei, now this is feminine adjective, so you've got to supply day here, I think. So on the previous day, having seen tina ton ludon, a certain one of the Lydians, katatuto at this place of the Acropolis, katabanti climbing down after a kunian, this is a helmet, katakulisthesan from katakulisdo, to roll down. We get our word cylinder from this. So having rolled down from above, and helomenon, this is from anhyrio, and having retrieved it, literally having taken it up. So having retrieved it, esphraste, well, this is a deponent passive here, really meaning he pondered, he thought about it, and literally he placed it into his thumos, well, perhaps into his mind. So he contemplated it and gave it serious thought, is the sense in English. Toti de de autos de, and he himself at that time, anabebe, this is another pluperfect from anabino. We would just put it into a simple past in English, but Herodotos likes these pluperfects. So he climbed up, and cat auton, perhaps after him or behind him, others of the Persians began to climb up. This is imperfect. Pros banton des suknon, and many, climbing in as well, many advancing thus. So many other soldiers advancing thus. In fact, Sardis, Halokesan, this is again from Haliskamai, was taken, and all the city Portheto from Porthio was sacked. And that's the end of section 84.